Good evening. You're now with me, Sholshmato, for TVS Nightline, and here are the headlines for tonight. United Nations troubled as Israel prepares to invade. Premier Sarawak Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunapeng aims for higher paddy floor price. 3 million ringgit allocated to UPM for biomass electricity study towards paddy cultivation and wood resources. We begin with this news. Israel announced that its military had prepared a strategy to remove residents of Gaza in anticipation of a potential invasion into the southern area of Rafah. This led the United Nations UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres to caution that a ground assault would severely disrupt and operations, potentially dealing a fatal blow to the Gazan refugees.
Guterres emphasized that Rafah, home to 1.4 million Palestinians residing in densely populated shelters near the Egyptian border, serves as the central hub for humanitarian aid operations within the besieged Gaza Strip. As the humanitarian crisis worsens, the primary UN agency providing aid to Palestinians, UNRWA, has called for political intervention to prevent famine in Gaza. Describing the dire food shortages in northern Gaza as a man-made disaster, the agency stressed that these conditions can be alleviated with concerted efforts. Despite the situation, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasized that the military will proceed with the ground invasion of Rafah to attain complete victory over the inhabitants of Gaza. After nearly 5 months of conflict, Israel's military campaign in Gaza has resulted in the deaths of at least 29,782 individuals, predominantly women and children. Furthermore, the blockade by Israeli Zionists has compelled Gazans to search for food themselves, as the majority of aid shipments have been suspended. Consequently, many are resorting to consuming animal feed and even the meat of slaughtered horses to survive.
Premier of Sarawak Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunapeng aims to set the floor price for Sarawak paddy at 1,800 ringgit per metric ton, compared to the current 1,300 ringgit. He said this goal could be achieved when the state becomes a major rice exporter in the country.
Bermaknanya, why not we produce beras kita pun? And that is the solution. Kalau kita keluarkan beras kita pun, bermakna you are not subject to foreign currency fluctuation. You are on your own. Jadi you determine the price based on the input that you put in when you produce rice. Paddy, na?
He spoke to reporters during an event in Gedong on Monday. He further stressed that rice production in the state needs to be based on consumer demand.
Jadi kalau beras banyak, supply and demand lah, tapi you must have floor price. Sebabnya floor price-nya, lantainya 1,300. 300 national. Di Sarawak saya nak nambah 500 lagi. Makna 1,800 per tan.
Earlier in his speech, Abang Johari announced that the state government has allocated a sum of 30 million ringgit to upgrade the irrigation canals and waterways in the Lubuk Punggor area as an initiative to enhance paddy irrigation infrastructure in Kampung Lubuk Punggor, Gedong. He revealed that this implementation would enable an increase in paddy production throughout Sarawak and boost the income of farmers.
The Sarawak government has allocated 3 million ringgit to University Putra Malaysia UPM to conduct a study on electricity generation from biomass energy obtained from wood sources. Premier Sarawak Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunapeng disclosed that he has met with the Chancellor of UPM, who is also the Sultan of Selangor, to discuss matters related to paddy cultivation and wood resources.
Saya mendatangkan Sultan Selangor bahawa saya nak minta Sedatuk tolong kita, pertamanya hal padi tu, keduanya hal kayu pokok yang boleh tumbuh dengan cepat. Kerana kita nak menghasilkan apa disebut sebagai biomass, dan itu boleh jadi bahan keluar elektrik. Kita nak keluarkan elektrik daripada biomass selain daripada air. Jadi saya minta UPM buat kaji itu. Jadi sebenarnya kadang-kadang UPM itu pandai juga. Kami itu boleh malah pilih, tapi saya dapat. Sudah UPM selalu ada saya dapat. Untuk 3 juta beri saya yang UPM.
Abang Johari further assured that the state government would provide more funding if necessary to conduct the study. For the record, biomass or organic matter is a renewable natural resource obtained from agricultural waste, industrial waste, and other wood sources.
Sarawak is on the right track to becoming an exporter of renewable energy, namely hydrogen, by 2027. Premier Sarawak, Dr. PADDY Tan Sri Abang Johari Tonopeng said this would not only boost the state's gross domestic product, GDP, but also provide job opportunities for the young generation as the production would involve the utilization of the latest technology.
Kita telah berkongsi mengenai dengan sumber yang ada di Sarawak. Sebenarnya kita ada semua sumber. Dan kalau kita gandingkan sumber ini dengan teknologi, maka potensi Sarawak sangatlah luas. Khususnya dari sudut dasar NETR, Transition Energy Malaysia. Dan kemungkinan kita boleh menjadi, saya rasalah, penentu dalam kita menukarkan teknologi tenaga lama kepada tenaga yang baru.
He said this when met by reporters after the inaugural Borneo Energy Transition Conference BETC 2024 on Monday. Abang Johari expressed his confidence that the state's facilities would be ready by the targeted year to achieve the goal. He added that once completed, Sarawak will have high-tech hydrogen-producing plants capable of producing clean energy for both export and domestic use.
Di samping itu, kita juga menggunakan hidrogen untuk domestik. Bermakna katakanlah kita akan retain 7,000 ton hidrogen untuk domestic use. Ini banyak. Dan bermakna dia hidrogen ini akan menjadi tenaga untuk industri-industri yang mempunyai pangkalan di Sarawak.
The Borneo Energy Transition Conference, or BETC 2024, is poised to drive exploration and advancement of sustainable energy solutions, bringing together stakeholders from across the energy sector, including government officials, industry leaders, financial professionals and academics. SADC Energy CEO Robert Hardin said, through this conference, through panel discussions and interactive sessions, delegates will explore new technologies, share best practices and forge strategic partnerships to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy.
Because for the past few years that SADC SETC has been working on this, so we realized that both sides don't really fully understand each other yet. Okay, so that hence why we arranged this, get everyone together for 2 days, let everyone mingle, ask all kinds of questions, whatever questions they want. Then hopefully after the end of tomorrow, everyone will have a better understanding. We know how to move forward with all our new energy projects easier.
BETC 2024 is being held from 26 to 27 February in Kuching, Sarawak. The two-day conference was also officiated by the Premier of Sarawak, Dr. PADDY Tan Sri Abang Johari Tonopeng.
The Ministry of Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development Sarawak will assist siblings Noor Alif Shukri Rosli and Noor Khairul Rosli in obtaining school aid through the Sarawak Foundation. As Minister, Dr. Sri Fatimah Abdullah said that the educational needs of low-income families are often neglected. Thus, the Ministry will ensure that no children will be left out in getting their rights to education.
Dan untuk keluar daripada kepompong kemiskinan ini ialah melalui pendidikan. Dan kalau pendidikan juga tidak dapat dinikmati disebabkan oleh masalah yang dihadapi, apalah masalah hadapan untuk kanak-kanak ini. Jadi ianya kemiskinan itu akan terus diwarisi oleh mereka dan ini yang kita tidak mahu. SDG goal states that no poverty dan kita tidak mahu kemiskinan ini diwariskan, ya.
Fatimah said this to reporters during a visit to the home of Noor Alif Shukri Rosli on Monday. Noor Alif Shukri, a primary 1 student, has learning difficulties but has yet to be diagnosed by professionals. His brother, Noor Khairul Rosli, has also difficulties in reading and comprehension despite him being 13 years old. Fatimah said that her ministry will soon request the Sarawak Dyslexia Association to assess the 2 siblings to determine the best intervention course suitable for both siblings.
Commercial crime cases are on the rise, with over 2,958 cases recorded in 2023, compared to the 2,461 cases the previous year. Similarly, Sarawak Police Commissioner Datuk Mancha Atta said a staggering 117.06 million ringgit loss to the crime was recorded in 2023, an increase of 51.17 million ringgit from 2022's 65.9 million ringgit.
According to Mancha, in January alone, a total of 240 cases of commercial crime with losses amounting to 7.81 million ringgit were recorded. Mancha reminded the public to be more vigilant to avoid becoming victims of commercial crime. He encouraged the public to reach out to the National Scam Response Centre and SRC to verify details related to cyber fraud or to download the Who's Call app, and to utilize the Check Scammers CCID app for checking bank accounts before engaging in transactions to prevent falling victim to deception. The Police Commissioner also mentioned that the Sarawak Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCID, under the Royal Malaysia Police, is tasked with probing commercial crime incidents, including fraud, breaches of trust, counterfeiting, illegal money lending, counterfeit currency, and similar offences.
Coming up right after the break, His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim decreed for political stability and improved unity during the inauguration of the first meeting of the 3rd session of the 15th Parliament earlier today. And on World News, Hungary to vote on Swedish NATO bid. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim expresses his desire for political stability in the nation as a catalyst for economic advancement and the promotion of unity. During the inauguration of the first meeting of the 3rd session of the 15th Parliament today, His Majesty's decree was brimming with valuable guidance and counsel for members of Parliament.
Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail reminded that the King's decree serves as a reminder to all members of the Dewan Rakyat to not disrupt the Madani government under the helm of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim.
Saya dengan pantas dapat mengesan 3 perkara. Pertama, tentang peringatan Tuanku bahawa keberadaan semua ahli-ahli parlimen, ahli dewan mesti sentiasa mengingatkan diri bahawa keutamaan kita adalah menjaga rakyat jelata yang terbanyak.
At the same time, Deputy Home Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Shamsul Anwar Nasarah said that the King of Malaysia has emphasised the significance of tending to the welfare of the people.
Pribadi saya menunjuk kasih atas titah Encik Baginda dan ia sangat baik dan tentu menjadi tanggungjawab saya sendiri sebagai wakil rakyat untuk menerjemahkannya dalam pelaksanaan tugas dan tanggungjawab.
Meanwhile, Transport Minister Anthony Loke said that the decree sends a strong message that His Majesty wants to see Malaysians strongly united, thus ensuring that the people live in prosperity.
Tuanku Di-Pertuan Agong buat julung kalinya di Dewan Rakyat telah memberikan peringatan dan juga hala tuju yang sangat jelas bahawa Tuanku ingin melihat perpaduan yang lebih baik di kalangan rakyat Malaysia. Itu sebabnya Tuanku menyeru satu dasar yang lebih menyeluruh di Kubal supaya dapat menyatu padukan rakyat berbilang kaum dan memahami antara satu sama lain dengan lebih mendalam. Itu merupakan satu pandangan yang amat bernas dan juga seruan yang tepat.
Earlier in his inaugural royal address at the commencement of the parliament seating, Sultan Ibrahim highlighted several issues to members of parliament MPs, which encompassed the imperative of formulating a policy to bolster unity and harmony among Malaysians, as well as addressing bureaucratic inefficiencies within the government's delivery system, managing the country's debt and ensuring political stability.
During the same session, His Majesty also decreed efficiency in administrative and service delivery from government agencies must be improved. Sultan Ibrahim proposed that one way to achieve this is to eliminate any red tape or bureaucracy that are being rampantly practiced today.
Saya tidak suka dengan sistem yang banyak red tape. Oleh itu, kecekapan proses kerja, tadbir urus setiap agensi kerajaan mestilah sentiasa dinilai dan ditingkatkan.
His Majesty also reminded public servants to be more efficient when fulfilling their duties while maintaining high integrity to achieve better economic progress.
Penguat kuasa juga hendaklah menjalankan siasatan dengan lebih cekap dan cepat supaya sesuatu kes itu dapat diselesaikan dengan segera. Semua kes yang telah dibawa ke mahkamah juga mestilah segera diadili supaya kepercayaan rakyat terhadap sistem kehakiman negara sentiasa dipelihara.
At the same time, the King also expressed joy when Malaysia was ranked 29th in the World Competitive Index for Government Efficiency. He called for continued efforts so that the people will have more trust in government service through its implementing agencies.
A total of 557 out of 1,065 sub-districts have a population where more than 7% of individuals are aged 65 and over, classifying them into the ageing category according to My Census 2020, Mukim Town and Pekan statistics released by the Statistics Department. Chief Statistician Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said that out of 260 towns, 155 are classified as part of the ageing group, and about 50% of Pekan have also reached the ageing category.
Peninsular Malaysia comprises 1,730 administrative entities, including Mukim, Towns and Pekan distributed across 13 states as delineated by the National Land Code Revised 2020 Act 828. Out of this total, 1,730, Mukim constituted 1,065, Towns 260 and Pekan 405. For Sabah, Sarawak and Federal Territory of Labuan, statistical boundaries follow the State Administrative Centre and My Census 2020 Gazette, demarcated at the state, division, and district/sub-district level. Muhammad Uzair said the population of Mukim in Peninsular Malaysia increased from 15.3 million in 2010 to 18.6 million in 2020, while town population reached 5.9 million in 2020 compared to 5 million in 2010, and the Pekan population was 2 million in 2020 compared to 1.6 million in 2010. On the number of living quarters, he added that Mukim registered 5.6 million, towns recorded 1.9 million, and Pekan had 0.6 million in 2020.
National recurve archer Ariana Noor Dania Muhammad Zairi wants to set up camp in South Korea to master the best preparation possible before bringing the national challenge to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games from July 26 to August 11. The 19-year-old, who will be making her debut in the world's most prestigious games, said exposure to training abroad was very important, as she had not only competed twice abroad in Thailand and Ireland.
Although admitting that she was a bit nervous about the stint in South Korea, Ariana Noor Dania said it was a sacrifice that had to be made if she wanted to produce results for Malaysia on the international stage. The meeting also discussed the need for the mechanical engineering student at the German-Malaysian Institute GMI, Selangor, to bring additional archery equipment to Paris in preparation for unforeseen circumstances. In the run-up to the Quadrennial Games, she will also participate in 3 international tournaments, namely the World Cup in Shanghai in April, the World Cup in Yicheon, South Korea in May, and the World Cup in Antalya, Turkey in June, in addition to the National Championships in Shah Alam, Selangor, which starts this Wednesday, February 28th. Meanwhile, national archery coach Muhammad Marbawi Sulaiman hopes that there are still national archers who can qualify for Paris 2024 when the World Cup in Antalya, Turkey this June becomes the last field to win a slot to the Olympics.
And now on to world affairs. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban called on Parliament to ratify Sweden's NATO bid, with Monday's vote expected to clear the final obstacle for an enlargement of the military alliance spurred by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The vote would end more than a year of delays that left fellow NATO partners furious as Ukraine battled Russian troops. Russia's February 2022 invasion prompted Sweden and neighbouring Finland to apply to join the bloc, ending a long-standing stance of non-alignment in both countries. Finland became the 31st member of the US-led defence alliance in April last year, while Hungary repeatedly said it supported Swedish membership in principle, kept prolonging the process by asking Stockholm to stop vilifying the Hungarian government. Meanwhile, lawmakers were widely expected to greenlight the Nordic nations' bid in the parliamentary vote at around 4:20 p.m. Under immense pressure from Arab nations and the region and the United States, Palestinian Territories Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh tendered his resignation in Ramallah. The resignation, urged by Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, is perceived as a move toward fostering peace in the Middle East by restructuring the Palestinian Authority to govern Gaza post-genocide.
Shtayyeh's resignation is regarded as a symbolic gesture, signaling a pathway towards the two-state solution goal, despite numerous existing hurdles. As a trusted ally of Abbas, Shtayyeh has held office since 2005 and will remain at the helm of an interim government. The establishment of a new government may extend over weeks or months. Its efficacy would largely hinge on ceasing the conflict in the Gaza Strip and attaining the internationally monitored withdrawal of Israeli forces from the coastal region. According to the United States, a significantly reformed Palestinian Authority is slated to govern the Gaza Strip following the cessation of hostilities in the Gaza war. However, as always, Israel vehemently opposes this proposal, as it opposes the idea of either Hamas or a Fatah movement led by Abbas, assuming governance in Gaza.
An Australian helicopter pilot and 2 local contractors kidnapped at gunpoint in Papua New Guinea's Restive Highlands have been freed unharmed Police and an aviation company spokesman said on Monday. The trio were taken on Monday afternoon near Mount Sisa in central Hala province while working at a remote telecommunications tower, but were now free, safe and unharmed. With police and the army closing in on the area, it appears the assailants dropped their demands and allowed the three men to get back in the chopper and fly away to safety.
Police Commissioner David Manning said through local leaders the abductors had been warned that lethal force would be employed in order to free the captives. Papua New Guinea's highlands have in recent years been hit by a spate of kidnappings and tribal violence that has killed hundreds. Last week, more than 50 bodies were found by the side of the road, the result of clashes between rival clans. In 2023, a New Zealand archaeologist and two others were taken hostage at gunpoint at a location near this most recent incident. They were released, traumatized but seemingly physically unharmed, after a tense week of negotiations with kidnappers who initially demanded a ransom of $1 million, an enormous sum in one of the Pacific's poorest nations. The government has come under fierce pressure to boost security resources in the area and tackle growing lawlessness.
A road crash in northern Tanzania has killed at least 25 people, including several foreigners. Its President Samia Suluhu Hassan said on Sunday the accident occurred on Saturday evening when the truck driver lost control of his vehicle on the road linking Arusha and Namanga, collided with three other vehicles.
She said in a statement, the victims included one girl, 10 women and 14 men, and among them were an American, a Kenyan, and a South African national. Meanwhile, at least 21 people were injured in the accident, including people from Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Switzerland, Britain, and Mali. The statement further added that one of the vehicles was transporting foreigners who were volunteering at a school in Arusha. Tanzania is regularly plunged into mourning by fatal road accidents, with collisions killing scores in 2015, 2017, and 2022. One of the bloodiest accidents occurred in 2006 when a bus plunged off a bridge into a river, killing 54 people. In a 2018 report on road safety, the World Health Organization (WHO) noted that official Tanzanian statistics for 2016 recorded 3,256 road deaths, but estimated that the figure was between 13,000 and 19,000.
The Eiffel Tower has reopened to visitors after a 6-day strike by employees demanding changes to the landmark's business model and better maintenance of the 330-meter structure, which is showing widespread traces of rust. The tower's operator said in a statement it had reached an agreement with unions under which parties will regularly monitor the company's business model, investment in works and revenue through a body that will meet every 6 months.
It added that both sides had also agreed to an ambitious €380 million up to 2031 towards maintenance and renovation of the 135-year-old attraction, which is visited by up to 7 million people a year and will feature prominently in the 2024 Paris Olympics. The operator, SET, which is 99% owned by the city of Paris, has also launched pay negotiations that are expected to be concluded in March. Furthermore, it apologized to ticket holders and said they would be reimbursed if they were affected by the strike. Meanwhile, the stoppage was the second in 3 months, and as such, the unions maintain SET is heading for disaster because its business model is based on an overestimation of future revenue from ticket sales and an underestimation of escalating maintenance and repair costs.
And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Sheila Shamato. Thank you for watching and have a good night.